All right, let's set the scene. It's 2017. You are pushing 30 years old and have just watched the finale of Pretty Little Liars. You're wearing your feathered earrings and your red coat, and you swore you'd never watch this show again.
Countless hours spent on message boards researching conspiracies. Time you will never get back.
Okay, so fast forward to 2023, and you call yourself a teen drama aficionado. Just finished a podcast dissecting every salacious episode of Gossip Girl, and you're looking for something to fill the void. Your listeners begged you for years, yes, years, to cover Pretty Little Liars on your podcast network, and for once, you're considering it. Hell, you're geared to do it, making you, well, a liar.
Liars. At last, We Are Liars podcast was born. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Liz.
And we're Total Betty Podcast Network, and we recap every single episode, spoiler-free, of Pretty Little Liars ad nauseum. Every exaggerated gasp, inappropriate relationship, and altogether fantasy this show holds.
Listen every Wednesday to We Are Liars as I, Liz, the veteran, and Michelle Newbie talk spoiler-free about the wildness that is Pretty Little Liars.
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Andrene.
And you are listening to Rewind Rewatch, a 90s movies podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Rewind Rewatch. We've got another lovely episode for you all, our lovely listeners, to discuss a film from the 90s. And today we have a movie from 1994. And we will be discussing Arnold Schwarzenegger's Junior. From 1994. Who requested this movie?
So we have a lucky duck, Megan from DC.
Oh, wow. She's very lucky.
I think it's 3 in a row for her.
Wow. That's funny. I did not realize that.
There's a second person, but yeah.
Okay.
So that was one.
Okay.
And then the second one is Tanea from California.
Okay. All right. So we got opposite ends of the country here. I was like, I feel like more than one person recommended this.
Yeah.
All right. So shout out to Megan and shout out to Tanea. So yes, this is a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This is our second Arnold film. We previously covered Kindergarten Cop, and we saw the little girl from Kindergarten Cop in last week's movie.
Yeah.
And then we also have Danny DeVito, who co-stars with Arnold in Twins, which we have not covered. And I don't know if we've watched any other Danny DeVito movies yet.
Batman Returns.
Oh, that's right. Batman Returns. He was a very gross and creepy and sexually charged penguin.
Oh, he was so boned up.
This is a very sick.
Oh, man.
And then we also have Emma Thompson as well, who I'm fairly certain we have not
we have
in
not
any
seen
other films that we've covered.
Although she did play the Beauty and the Beast live action Mrs. Potts. And we did do Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon.
Well, she wasn't in that.
I'm just going to mention.
Mrs. Potts, I'm pretty sure, was Angela Lansbury in the cartoon.
Yes, she was.
All right. So, Junior, how might you describe this movie in one sentence?
Okay. A male doctor, in an effort to test a new fertility drug, uses it on himself and becomes pregnant.
Yes, that is true.
Which is the ridiculous premise for a film.
Yes. I mean, so I'll start by saying that I've never actually watched this movie before.
Me either.
But I could tell that it was going to be a ridiculous movie because, like you said, it's about a man getting pregnant. And you see the poster art for this movie is just Arnold looking shocked with a huge pregnant belly. So it's like, all right, I kind of have an idea of what I'm in for. And this is exactly what I thought it would be. It is exactly what I thought I was going in for. Now, I did mention previously that we saw Arnold in Kindergarten Cop, and that he was also in Twins with Danny DeVito. This movie is directed by Ivan Reitman.
Yeah.
And he directed all three of those movies, Kindergarten Cop, Twins, and Junior, as well as Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. And you know what else? Talking about Kindergarten Cop, this movie also has Pamela Reed, who plays Angela. She is Danny DeVito's character's ex-wife.
And she was Arnold's partner in
in
Kindergarten Cop.
Yep.
We also see Tony Soprano's sister.
There are a lot of people in this movie.
From The Sopranos is randomly in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wait, I know this woman. I've seen her before.
There's also the Pops from 90210, Ned Sneller.
Oh, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, he's the other doctor in the clinic with Danny DeVito.
Oh, okay.
Did you also see Megan Cavanaugh, who was the one who played Marla Hooch from A League of Their Own? The weird girl who
That's
couldn't get a guy.
right.
She played
That's
one of the nurses. They're also
Law and Order guy.
Yep. Christopher Maloney, who plays Stabler.
Chris Maloney, yes, and he was also in Oz.
Yep.
hate
And
that
then
show.
did you see Anna Gunn, who plays Skylar?
No,
She was one of the nurses. When
I did not recognize her.
when Arnold Schwarzenegger's character goes to the woman's
Skylar White from Breaking Bad.
when he goes to the women's retreat, she's one of the nurses at that resort.
Oh wow!
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, this is there's a bunch of random people who were not anything at the time who went on to do bigger things. Obviously,
Yeah.
So all right, so this movie is a little unconventional.
How so?
It's unconventional. Obviously, there's a pregnant man, but I would say it's unconventional for an Arnold movie because he's not really using his physique in any way. And typically, when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sly Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, all these super jacked guys, and then now you have The Rock, and you have John Cena,
Vin
and
Diesel.
you have Vin Diesel, and it's all right, I'm gonna have you in this movie so you can walk around in a tank top and show off your guns.
Yeah.
And Kindergarten Cop was a bit of an escape from that, but he does play this brooding figure for at least the first 25
He was
minutes.
terrifying.
This movie, and I will say Twins is kind of like this too, where he plays this intellectual.
Yeah.
And in Twins, which I'm not going to talk too much about because we might cover it later. But he's this scientist or something, and he's this smart guy, and Danny DeVito plays this scammer basically. And so in this movie, Danny DeVito's not quite a scammer, but they're both doctors. He is a experimental scientist, and Danny DeVito basically plays an OBGYN.
Right.
So they are working on this drug called expectane, which is supposed to be a cure for infertility, and they're presenting to the FDA for approval so that they can start selling it.
Right.
And long story short, the FDA rejects their bid. He's going to basically quit and go back to Austria. And Danny DeVito's character, Larry, basically stops him at the airport and basically is yo, we got to work on this. This could be a huge thing. And convinces him to take the drug himself, impregnate him with a stolen egg, and then, madness ensues.
There's so much.
There is so much. So where should we even start? I guess one of the things that I wanted to start with was the concept that you only ever see in movies and TV shows, which is someone trying to chase someone before they leave on an airplane.
Oh, Lord.
And when they find out the person has already gotten through security, their solution is to buy a plane ticket.
Yes.
To chase the person to their terminal, sometimes chase them onto the plane itself.
As he did.
To convince this person. I feel like this happened on, this was, I don't remember, some TV show. Was it Friends or, I can't even remember. I feel like this has happened in so many different things. We talked about this actually
they'll
on
be at the gate at Friends.
The Can't Hardly Wait episode where
the
it was
train
the train
station.
station.
Yeah.
And it's like,
people got money to blow.
I can understand you spending $60 on a train ticket to stop someone. A flight to Austria?
No way. No way.
Nah, dog.
And the flight leaves now. So you got to think about how much you're paying to get on the plane right now. There's no way. Not to mention, when they're talking on the plane, the stewardess is basically like, oh, you have to take your seat. Like, you're getting ready to take off. So I'm like, how did they get off the plane?
Right, which means you had to convince him to leave in the next 45 seconds,
right.
Or you're going to Austria. Like, that's really how this is going to play out.
Like, no, you don't care? So he convinces him to stay. He leaves out, and they decide. What he says to him is that, you know, the person who invented the smallpox vaccine, Jenner, infected himself first to treat it. So it's kind of like, this is like revolutionary science. And he says, you know, this could really help people. Now, on the one hand, you know, Larry and his wife or ex-wife have had some issues being able to conceive. And it's an issue that they talk about. And he really does want to be able to help his patients who cannot conceive. And he's thinking like, if we can do this, we should go ahead and try, because they've been testing it on chimpanzees, but have not been approved to test it on an actual woman. But if it's my drug that I want to test, they decide like, hey, like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Can it happen? So it's like, apparently you don't need a uterus in this world.
No.
Basically what happens is as long as the male is taking the expectant drug, he also is taking progesterone and estrogen, and they basically just fertilize an egg and implant it into his perineal cavity. So that's it.
Yes.
Very simple science procedure.
Which I had to Google because I'm like, I don't know what a perineal cavity is, but it's basically like a empty space of fat and guts that is not near any of your vital organs. So apparently they are inserting a fertilized egg into a pouch of fat in his abs.
Yes.
And somehow that baby is going to grow without it being in a uterus. I mean, listen.
You have to suspend disbelief.
I think the concept of this movie is even stupider because they try to root it in some sort of science.
Yeah.
Like, I would be less offended if it was just like, this is stupid and we're not even going to try to explain this.
Right.
But the fact that they try to like justify it with some sort of like scientific and anatomical terminology is like, why are you doing this? Because this is not how any of this works. And there's like very little mention of the fact that he doesn't have a uterus.
Yeah.
So then it's just like, all right, you're kind of leaving a big part of this out.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever. I also thought it was interesting that Arnold's character is continuously referred to as Dr. Hesse, and they just call Danny DeVito Larry. It's like, he's also a doctor.
Right. I don't know. They didn't want to say Abernast.
We're not taking him seriously, is I think what the whole point of that was.
Well, because he's trying to cut corners. Like, he's definitely the guy who, like, again, like, I think at the heart of it, he does want to do good for his patients. But it's like, he's kind of, like, shifty. And we can tell from the first time we meet him, he's kind of, you know, out of pocket. Because when they go before the FDA to even present their case, he's nowhere near as polished as Dr. Hesse is.
Nah, he's talking like he's like in a bar. Like he's just like, yo, this would be crazy. Like, yo, this like,
it's like you're speaking in front of the FDA. Like, please get it together. There's another character that we have to like mention. His name is Dr. Noah Baines.
Nah, Baines is trash, man.
Baines is their colleague and also head of like the local review board. And it seems as though Dr. Hesse, you know, he has this facility project that's like set up in this area. After the FDA basically wraps them, they're like, we're not going to fund you anymore. You got to go. And Baines instead gets Dr. Diana Redden to come in with her ovum cryogenics project to take over. And he's super excited to have her. And I'm not quite sure why they made her so klutzy. And like the whole time it was like, first time we see her, she's rolling in on this frozen container of all of her eggs, and she loses control over it. She falls over and, of course, lands on top of Dr. Hess, and then she kisses him for saving her from the fall. And
yeah, I'm not really sure why that.
I didn't really get what was happening with that.
Yeah.
I was like, we don't really need this, but okay.
Yeah, it really wasn't doing anything for me. And okay, this happens. This woman is like kind of overwhelmed, and she falls. All right, I don't know. I guess it was supposed to be funny. I'm not sure why she kisses him on the mouth afterwards. Yeah. But then I feel like they overdo it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like almost every scene that she's in, she's being like a klutz. She's like stumbling over something. She's dropping something. She's tripping over something. And I'm like, this isn't doing anything for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this is adding to the movie or to this character. So it's like, I don't really know like what's the point of like making her a klutz in the first place.
Because
like,
she's
it didn't
clearly
actually
very
like
smart.
It didn't contribute anything to moving the plot forward. It
At
was just
all.
like,
oh, she fell again. Oh, she lost her lobster claw. I was like,
yeah, I didn't understand. Like, why are we doing this?
Matter of fact, I think it might have been Tanea in the Patreon chat mentioned that there's like this toilet paper dance scene that happens where
my God.
she ends up dancing at the convention with Dr. Hess. And she had just come out of the loo, she said. And so there was toilet paper on the bottom of her shoe, and they're dancing, and she's trying to get the toilet paper off the bottom of her shoe. And as she's trying to do so, she ends up kicking her shoe, and then her high heel goes flying across the ballroom and lands on someone's table. And I was just like, why is this? It was very eye-rolly. It was very much like, oh, all right. So anyway, the original plan is for Dr. Hess to do this short term. The whole thing was like, can we see if a man can become pregnant? We're going to basically monitor it through the first trimester, and then we're going to terminate the project and be like, oh, it worked. Like, that's it. That was always the plan. But then as time goes on, we see that Dr. Hess is starting to change. He is starting to become very emotional. He is talking about, he has morning sickness. He talks about having sensitive nipples and cramping and feeling humiliated. He's crying at music videos of like fathers dancing with their daughters. And they're going through all these changes. And basically there's one scene where he's talking to Dr. Diana Redden, and he's like, I hate my body and the way it looks. And yes, it's supposed to be funny because it's like, obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger has a great body. And here he is like feeling unsure of himself and being like, is my body ugly? Is, whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. But I just felt like seeing this man like complain and be like, oh, I have cramps. I was just kind of like, okay. All right. And there's one great scene where Dr. Diana basically like talks about men in general, about how she's like, men cannot handle pain. They can never have a kid. And she like goes on this whole like rant about how from the time a woman like starts getting their period through like the eternity, like all the things we have to go through like pain wise. And I was like, yes, that was like probably my favorite part. It was that monologue she gave, because she's like, y'all could never handle this. And they go to show that. They have like Arnold just feeling very uncomfortable and like, I don't want to leave the house and blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like, am I supposed to like feel bad for him? Or like, I wasn't sure. Like,
I didn't get that sense. I mean, to me, I feel like the movie was more so pointing out all the ways that men couldn't handle pregnancy. And I would say the other thing that the movie is doing is like, obviously it's a comedy. So they're also kind of like making fun of all of the like, this is the stereotypical thing that a pregnant woman does, but now we're having Arnold Schwarzenegger do it.
If you could feel for 1 minute the sense of absolute joy and connection that carrying your baby brings, you would understand.
Listen to you. Have you lost it completely? Now come inside.
If I carry this baby to term, it will be a miracle. And I would love, protect, and nurture that miracle with everything I've got in me.
Stop it!
No, I don't stop it. I want my baby.
So
Right.
Whether that's like him complaining about feeling fat or, eating these random mismatched meals, just like random things, or oh, you always leave me here and I'm home all by
Cooking,
myself.
Yeah.
There was something similar that we saw in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead with the kids.
That was really well done.
That was really well done and
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more eye-rolly in this movie.
There's a few things that are eye-rolly.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
we'll get to
man.
that in a second.
Oh, man.
But first, let's discuss this Baines character, because if there is a
Villain.
quote-unquote villain in this movie, he is definitely the main antagonist here.
Mm-hmm.
So who is Baines?
Like I said, he is the person who runs the head of the review board where Hess works. So Hess works with Larry, and they're trying to test this product. Like I said, he's able to get Dr. Diana Redden in after he realizes that the FDA is not going to agree. But what ends up happening is he's realizing, he's going through the bills, that they're still being charged for this expectane drug. And he's confused because he's like,
Got rid of that product.
Dr. Redden doesn't do that work. So, like, clearly she's still ordering it or for some reason, but, like, why? What exactly is going on? So he's thinking, like, these guys must have gotten some woman to agree to take these drugs, although the FDA said no. Which, I mean, to his credit, is a huge deal. Like, you can't do that. So he's trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And at one point, he goes to Larry's home, and Dr. Hess is staying there and taking the vials there. And when he finds it there, he's kind of thinking, like, they're clearly hiding a woman. I got to see what's going on. And as the movie progresses, he's able to figure out that it is Dr. Hess who is pregnant. And now he's like, oh, this is a huge deal because they gave it to a man. Because, like, bro, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy, to be fair.
Yes, it's crazy. I mean, number one, I thought it was kind of crazy that he was, like, waiting in front of this man's house and then just invited himself in. It's like, bro, like, why are you at my home? So I thought that was, like, a little bit too much. Because it's one thing if, like, okay, you're doing something that you've been told not to do at work, and this is, like, my place of business, and I'm trying to protect the integrity of our workspace. But then it's like you're following them to their house. Like, I feel like he was, like, way too invested in whatever it is that they were doing that wasn't really affecting.
But they're being charged for the expecting. So it is. It's like, why? Like, what's going on?
All right, yeah,
You know?
I guess that's a good point. Anyway, Baines was still being a hater, so you know.
That's your final word?
Nah, that's my final word, because he was definitely, because it's like, bro, like, we're trying to do experiments here, bro. Like, this is also our job. Now,
Yeah, but they are very unethical.
Yes.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't as anti-Bain as you were.
I feel like, should he have been, like, on board with what they were doing? No, definitely not. But I feel like he was, like, going above and beyond to catch them, which is like, bro, why do you care this much?
I don't know
Relax.
he did anything wrong. The only thing that I think was quote unquote wrong was when he finds out that Hess is in fact pregnant. He's bringing it to term because whatever. And
He refused.
And he says basically like
He refused to end it after the first trimester.
That baby is now property of the university or something. And then that's when Dr. Hess says, "My body, my choice." And I said,
Nah, yo.
I said, Come
My
on, bro.
body, my choice was the craziest
I know that took you
bar.
out.
That was the craziest bar of this whole movie.
You and your baby are university property now. No, I'm not. My body, my choice.
When he said that, I was like, what? Nah, I lost it. That was amazing. That was amazing. My body, my choice.
Wait, so we gotta explain, why did he decide to take it to full turn? Because originally the plan was he was supposed to stop taking expecting, realize it worked, and terminate
Danny DeVito told him, like, yo, you're, like, actually, like, getting way too emotionally attached, and this is creating problems, and we're gonna get caught. So, like, it's time for us to end this project before this gets worse. And he's like, no, like, I'm too emotionally attached now, and I want this bit. Like, basically, like I said, they are playing on, like, every, like, what would a pregnant woman, how would they react in this situation?
Yeah.
And then they're putting it on Dr. Hess in this movie. So it's like, he is basically feeling so now attached to this process of this child that's growing in his body that he is basically now saying like, yo, I want to see this through. I'm not willing to stop. So even though he tells Dr. Larry that he's going to stop, he just keeps taking the expectane anyway.
But also, I felt like if I was Larry, like I wouldn't have left him with it, because when they were doing the study, he was staying at Larry's house, and then that night he dropped him home. So I'm like, why don't you just drop him home and take the drugs?
Then we wouldn't have a pregnant Arnold.
Because I'm like, this guy's doing the most, and he's like, I want to have my baby. It's like, you can't. This doesn't make. And then I'm thinking like, well, we know it has to be a C-section because obviously, but it's like. His labor pain, like there were so many things that I was just like, this is so ridiculous that I can't even.
I mean, he was going through labor, but also like climbing a ladder. It's like, what's happening here? Like, I don't think that's something that you would be having a pregnant person doing. But I think the other thing that, again, I can't reiterate this enough, that the entire premise of this movie is absolutely ridiculous. But I think the thing that really didn't make sense for me in terms of the character was at the beginning of the movie, he's basically like this kind of buttoned up, standoffish guy that doesn't really build any sort of personal relationships with the people he works with. He's very buttoned up. He's very like by the book. Let's get this work done. If it doesn't work, I'm out of here. Like, that's it. And there's some sort of like hints and suggestion at the beginning of the movie that he's not really well regarded by the other people in the lab that he works. He doesn't have any friends. He's built no relationships. And over the course of the movie, he not only develops this relationship with Emma Thompson, but he becomes much warmer. He's more talkative. He's more inquisitive about the people that he's talking to and meeting. And I'm wondering, are we supposed to draw the conclusion that him getting pregnant made him more like socially inviting?
Yes.
But like,
it's the hormones.
How does that?
It's the hormones. Because
what hormones?
Remember, he's taking the estrogen and the progesterone, and he's taking it at high doses. Remember, the lady said he's basically taking it in doses that someone who's going through a sex change would take.
Right.
So he's taking like mad hormones. And the thing about it is,
yeah, but being more feminine doesn't make you more socially inviting.
But I'm saying that's the whole story. It's like, oh, now he's able to cry. Now he's able to communicate with people at this retreat. Before all this even happened,
even when he goes to the banquet, the same banquet where she kicks her shoe off.
Yeah, he's pleasant.
Bane sees him and he's like, "You look radiant."
Yeah. He's like, I know. I'm like, yeah, because he's glowing because he's pregnant. Duh.
Exactly.
But the very opening scene, he has a nightmare. And in the nightmare, he's in the library by himself. He hears this unattended baby cooing. And he's like, the baby's here. There must be a mother. And in this scene...
Was that Arnold's voice?
No. In this scene, he's holding...
The baby's here. There must be a mother. Come on, baby. Where's your mother?
But he's holding the baby like away from his body. He doesn't even know how to hold a child properly.
He's taking out the trash.
Yeah.
Like he's taking out the trash.
I'm like, why is he holding? So we're showing him as like someone who doesn't really know how to communicate with.
Even in his own dreams,
he doesn't know how to hold a child.
To hold the child.
He doesn't know how to do anything. And then, because even when they take him to that retreat and they're trying to show you how to change a baby's diaper, he's flopping the baby's head on top of the table. Like, he has no idea.
He's like,
how
bro,
to do
maybe
anything.
do it gentler than that.
But again, it's like, but it goes to show you, it's like, oh well, he's a man. Like he has no idea.
Yeah, how would he know?
And it's like,
how would he know not to break this baby's skull? He's a man after all.
I was like, come on, it was a lot of that where it was rolling the eyes. So to get to the part where I really have to like really talk about how pissed I was, we got to talk about this egg, because basically when they're getting ready to, before they implant the egg, they have to first fertilize it. And he asked Larry, like, where'd you get this egg? And Larry's like, oh yeah, one of my colleagues, it was an anonymous donor. They had an extra one, so like I took it. And that's not true. He ended up going to Dr. Diana's lab. He steals one of her eggs, and that egg was labeled Junior. And, going back to the idea of like a movie like Serendipity or something, after Dr. Hess becomes pregnant, he's like, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but I'm going to name you Junior, which just so happens to be what she labeled the egg. So we come to find out that he stole her frozen egg, did some scientific testing on it, and implanted it into his perineal cavity.
Well, remember,
he doesn't know.
He didn't know it was stolen.
Yes, but Larry, Sleazeball Larry, did this. And he and Dr. Redding are on this date. And their whole interaction, I feel like I wasn't really buying their love connection, but
you mean sex?
It was, they couldn't even make out right. They flipped the chair back. Like everything was just anyway.
It was a mess.
It was a mess. They're on a date, and she basically like tells him that she froze one of her eggs. It was named Junior, and he realized, like, I have her egg inside of me. He ends up telling her,
I'm carrying your child.
He ends up telling
Emma Thompson, I'm carrying your baby.
And like, it's funny to think about it now, but like I was watching it and I was pissed because I'm like, you gotta think about it.
She was pissed
if
too.
If a woman is freezing her eggs, it's like, I haven't found the right person, but I do want kids at some point. So it's like, this is the egg that she was saving to have her child. And you're telling me that you stole it and now you're carrying my child? Like, what does this even mean?
Well, isn't it convenient that they both fell in love?
I was so annoyed because I'm like, there's no, like, how she went to that retreat afterwards.
She was
pissed.
She was, yeah. And I was actually worried as I was watching the movie that she was going to let it ride. And I was going to be way more pissed if that happened.
No, she told him
But
off.
she was like actually upset. And I was like, okay, good.
Yeah,
like,
she told him off.
This is an appropriate response. This isn't like something that she's going to just like be upset about for 2 minutes. Like she was actually legitimately mad.
You lie to me, you steal from me. You engage in an utterly immoral, selfish, arrogant stunt without any regard for my feelings whatsoever. What am I supposed to be, grateful? This is just so male.
I'm sorry, Diana.
Just don't come near me.
The last thing I wanted to do is just hurt you.
What did you think you were doing? You think men don't hold enough cards? You have to take this away from us as well.
But I feel like her deciding to be with him was a large part because of this kid. Because it's like, well, this is clearly part my kid too, and I want the child. So it's kind of like, I guess we have to raise it together. And he does tell her he loves her, which, whatever. I don't know if I actually see how that happens, but he said he loves her and she loves him too, and I guess they're together now. But in my head, I was just like...
Oh, they're together.
I just feel like
they're fully together because then he gets her pregnant at the end of the movie.
I know. I just felt like in real life, on the one hand, like, you would want your kid because clearly that's what she wanted. But it's also like, bro, I can't stand you. Like, I just don't understand how I can get past that and, like, for us to become a couple.
They're in love, baby.
Especially since you're out here, like, dressing like you're a woman, but, like, you're not trans. Like, the whole thing was just very, like, what are we doing here?
Oh, this is the whole, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to this camp that's clearly for pregnant women because I'm hiding from the doctor because I broke the law. So now I'm going to lie to these people to pretend as if I'm a woman who just has a very high amount of testosterone or something.
He was pumped with steroids when he was playing sports back in Austria.
Right.
I'm like,
And then she goes to this camp, sees him with this ridiculous wig on.
And fake boobs.
And then she's like, all right, let's talk about our relationships.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like...
This guy, you walked up and saw this, and you decided to have a conversation with him about a future?
And it's like, and again, it's like he's just like, it's like play, dress up, you know? It's like, oh, I'm putting on this dress and I'm trying to be a woman, so I don't get. It's not like, okay, you're a trans woman, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, this is so offensive. Like,
then when he goes into labor, he can't let the doctor in,
right?
Because the doctor's gonna realize he has a penis. So he's like, yo, nah, I can't open the door. I don't want to see anybody but my husband.
And his wig wasn't on yet, nothing.
Yo, that was crazy.
I was like, this is too much.
That was madness.
Like once the dress came on, I was like, okay.
Once the dress
like
was,
to me,
I was like, the tipping point.
It was too much.
The dress was the tipping point.
And then he's like telling him, like, rest assured, I'm all woman. I'm like, bro, like, what are we doing?
We're lying.
I really didn't like it.
We're bold-faced lying.
I really didn't like it.
You say bold face or is it bald? Is it bald? Can your face be bald?
Is your face bald? I think it's a bald bold face.
Bold face lie.
Can your face be bold?
Bold face lie. Oh man. Well, that's the other one that I've seen people debate is
bold.
If it's butt naked or buck naked. Because I've definitely heard people say both.
Oh, you're right.
And I feel like it's like dealer's choice. Like, I feel like either one of those is acceptable.
Yeah.
But I've definitely seen people like debate like the butt versus buck.
It's definitely bold.
It's definitely bold.
It's definitely
all right,
bold.
We're clear on that.
Bold face lie.
Bold. So yeah, like that's the whole thing. It's like now you basically have to lie to everybody just to keep this up. Which they are miraculously able to do. I think the only people that end up being tipped onto what they're doing is Larry's ex-wife.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about her,
basically
Angela.
Get this whole thing.
So Angela, like we said before, she played Arnold Schwarzenegger's partner in Kindergarten Cop. She is kind of out of pocket because she shows up at Larry's house. And, they're not together. They are divorced. No, sorry, his office. And she basically is like, oh, I'm pregnant. And he's thinking like, wow, we've been trying for 7 years. And it must have been before so-and-so's wedding. Like, that's the last time. And she was like, no, that's not it. And he's like, that's the last time we had sex. And she was like, it was another time. And I said, oh. Okay, fine. Y'all not together. Not an issue.
We were on a break.
They were actually divorced. Okay, fine. But then she's like, I want you to be my doctor. It's like, girl, what? I just felt like that was a little bit. That was a little bit too much.
Absolutely not.
And then he's like, "Well, you can go to the other doctor, which I guess is 90210 dad." And she's like, "No, I don't like him. He looks at me funny, blah blah blah." But I'm like, "So there's only 2 OBGYNs in this area? Mm-hmm. There's nowhere else you can go to get a doctor."
Apparently not.
Oh, okay.
And she's also thinking of it like, well, my ex-husband delivers babies, and I'm pregnant, so I'm just gonna go to him. I guess this is what she was thinking. Is like maybe.
I think that's weird.
Oh, I think it's very weird.
It's like I would I just can't imagine.
I'm trying to understand why she would have gone to him in the first place, but I guess it's like one of those things. Is like, oh, I need a lawyer. Do I know anybody who's a lawyer?
And then you just go there,
and it's like, oh, I know somebody who delivers babies.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. She could have gone to him and gotten like asked for a referral, but then we don't get her whole, playing switcheroni with Arnold at the end of the movie.
Yeah. We saw that coming. As the audience, you can kind of figure out what they were going to do when she ends up going into labor. And of course, she ends up going into labor the same time that Arnold does. And Arnold's, and I'm like, this, like,
how convenient.
Just seeing a man like doing like that and like seeing him in Lamaze class, like it was just.
Yeah, and why are you breathing? Much. You're never going to deliver this baby.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You are never going to deliver the baby. You don't need to practice your breathing.
I'm like, I don't. What?
There's only one way this baby's coming out. There's only one way.
So I was like, okay, I guess they're doing this. Fine. But my problem with him is that what you're doing is illegal. You're sneaking around, but it's like he just would be so loud about what they were doing. Like he goes to Larry's place of work and he's like, I want my baby. And it's like, there are people here waiting to see the doctor. They can hear what you're saying. And it just really made me upset that he wasn't being more careful. And I feel like more people would have realized it. Angela figured it out because she was like, what's happening here? Why are you touching his stomach? Like,
bruh. And also
what's going on?
At a certain point, he starts showing. So it's like, all right, like this was the whole reason that you were supposed to stop this experiment after the first trimester, so that you wouldn't be showing. Like that was kind of the whole point, bro.
And then they have that whole.
Not to mention the fact that like you have an actual baby now. Like that was not the purpose. Was just to see if this was gonna work.
Yeah. Now you want to be a dad or a mom or whatever.
He said, "I'm gonna be a mama too."
Yeah. Oh God!
It's like, wait, what?
I know she was looking at him like, "What are you talking about?
What does that mean? How are you going to be a mama? There's no circumstance under which you will be a mama. There is none.
But then,
that doesn't exist.
I'm gonna be a mama too."
All right, so can we talk about the end?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the end. So Dr. Baines has basically spent all this time throughout this movie trying to stop these people from whatever they're doing. He doesn't even know what they're doing at the beginning, but then he figures it out, and he's like, "Oh, they're like still doing this project." But then after that, he finds out, oh, they're actually experimenting it on Dr. Hesse. Okay, his decision at this point now is to call the press because he's like, well, at this point we have a man who's 9 months pregnant. I'm not going to continue chasing them around. They've already done the process. I might as well use this to our advantage. Yeah, like if they actually are able to pull this off, this is not only going to most likely get Expectane approved, it's also going to like be a huge boon for our lab to be able to say that like we have the world's first pregnant man. So he changes his tune very quickly and then basically like calls all the press to show up where they're supposed to show up with Dr. Hesse when he's supposed to give birth. And again, like I said, they do the old switcheroony where who pulls up? It's Larry and his ex-wife, who is also conveniently pregnant and also in labor. And then Dr. Hesse sneaks in through the back with Emma Thompson, and they like sneak through some back alley and he climbs up a ladder through a window. I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to be doing all this while you're going through labor. This doesn't seem like the best idea.
I don't think his water broke, so
there's nowhere for the water to go.
That's what I'm saying.
It probably did break, but I don't know. Where is it supposed to come out? So then you basically have this scene where he is now on the table going through a C-section. Meanwhile, the ex-wife is outside of the delivery room, I guess, waiting.
She's on the floor. So I think initially she wasn't actually in labor. They were pretending. But then while she was waiting, the labor started. And so now she's lying on the floor, and then you have Dr. Redden is running in and out, trying to make sure she's okay. And she's like, I don't want anybody. I just want Larry. And I was just like, why? Like, the baby's coming out. You don't want anyone to help you? But whatever. Yeah, that whole thing, I mean, yeah, they end up cutting him open, and, you know, they take the baby out. The baby's healthy. And, of course, the baby's named Junior because they've been hinting at Junior. Not even hinting. They've been hitting us over the face with Junior the entire movie.
Not to mention it's the name of the film.
It's like, okay, we get it. It's going to be named Junior.
So then after Larry's ex-wife Angela finally gives birth, and it's like he sees the baby, and he sees Angela with the baby, and he helped her deliver the baby, and then I guess they just decide like, well, she had a baby and I helped her deliver it, so now we're going to get back together.
Yeah.
There was no other like reason, or there was nothing like leading up to them getting back together in the movie. He finds out that she basically like got pregnant for this guy that was on tour with Aerosmith. Mm-hmm. At first he thinks it's one of the members of the band, but it's not. And so it's like, you guys, she got pregnant by some random guy.
But he wants the baby. That's the thing. He wants the baby, and he says to her, like, can we make this work? And she's like, yeah.
It felt a little too clean for me.
No, it was.
And also, like, unnecessary. Like, I didn't need him getting back with his ex-wife at the end of this movie. It could have just been like, he did a nice thing for her, and they're still friends.
Nah, because you needed that last scene on the beach. So you need them to get back together. Because at the very last scene, we see that now Dr. Redden is pregnant with baby number 2 for her and Dr. Hesse. And then she basically says to Angela, like, you should have another one. So the kids basically can have, you know, a playmate or whatever. And she's like, I'm not doing that again. Like, one was enough. And then it's like, it doesn't have to be you. And you look at Larry, and he's like, absolutely not, nah. And they're like, Larry! And they go to chase after him on the beach. As they go to get up, Dr. Redden, of course, steps in the birthday cake and gets cake all over her foot. And I was like, again, why do we need her to be so clumsy in every scene? It just really like just made me shake my head. I was like,
I didn't even catch that last one.
I was like,
I think I was tapped out at that point. And I was just like, all right, this movie's over. But I didn't even see that. But that is, Yeah, it was way too much clumsy. It was way too much clumsy. But I'm also, because I'm thinking about Larry and Angela getting back together after she gives birth. I'm also thinking about the fact that, you know, the doctor whose egg was stolen ends up forgiving Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
And then they become a family, and she gets pregnant so that they can have another kid together. And I'm questioning, like, what is this movie telling us about people's willingness to make emotional decisions due to childbirth? Like, it very much felt like this baby came and we're both just like overwhelmed by what's going on, and we're emotional, and then we're like doing this thing. And so it's like they're now like jumping into relationships, they're restarting marriages, they're having more kids. And I feel like it's all just like a bunch of hopped up emotion because you just saw a baby get born.
Yeah. Because honestly, before the baby's even born, when she goes to this retreat, I hated this entire scene, but after she rips him a new one and then decides she's going to forgive him, she basically says to him, like, well, call me old-fashioned, but I'd be damned if I have a baby with a guy without having sex first or something. So I'm like, so now you're just going to have sex with him? Like, the whole thing was just very, like,
Call me old-fashioned. Call me old-fashioned, but let's bang.
It's like, well, you're having my kid, so I guess we should have sex. That's what it felt like.
That is exactly what she said.
As he's walking around with his wig and big-ass dress. I was just like, what?
You got to, man.
The whole thing was just very like, come on,
what?
bro.
So what? You let a man have your baby without having sex with him first? Sheesh. These new age women, I tell you.
I'm suing for that child when it comes out.
Yeah, that's
true.
what
I would do.
I mean, well, that could have been an option, but he told her he loved her, and then that was all.
Oh,
that was
I forgot
all she
about
wrote.
that. That's all you need.
People in movies fall in love so quickly.
Yeah.
There was no indication that they shared anything remotely close to a loving relationship. They went on one date.
He was horny. Remember, that was the whole thing. He just wanted to bang something.
Right, because he was on the hormones. His hormones were running wild. He was just like, yo, I'm mad horny. And she happened to be there. And that was like the basis of everything. And then next thing we hear him saying like, I love you. Whoa, all right.
She's like, you're talking about sex? It's like, okay.
That's what she said. You mean sex? I hadn't thought of that. She's stumbling and bumbling over her words.
Yeah, this movie did nothing for me.
It did nothing?
This movie did nothing? Like, apart from My Body, My Choice.
My Body, My Choice was definitely...
I laughed.
Was definitely the best line in the movie. I'm Gonna Be a Mama, too, was also pretty ridiculous. And the part where he says, my body, is it disgusting?
Does my body disgust you?
What?
My body. Is it disgusting?
Oh, wait. That was really funny, too.
Is it disgusting?
Because she's like, no, I like... So they have this whole ridiculous lie, because remember, he starts gaining weight, and so they tell Dr. Redden that he has some random disease in some small Austrian town where he's from, and it makes guys become fat, and that's why you're going to see his stomach get bigger and bigger. The whole thing was just ridiculous, is what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this, and that alone, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But the part that actually, like, I literally rolled my eyes. It was when Dr. Baines basically has this janitor working at the fertility clinic, and he's like, if anything weird happens, call me, let me know. So the janitor calls him, and he's like, I don't know what's going on, but they're telling everybody to go home, which is why. Everybody go home.
It's the Godfather scene.
Everybody go home, but like one doctor and like his assistant. And then he's like, I don't know. Is this something about a C something? And I'm like, you don't know what a C-section is, bro?
How would I know what a C-section is? I'm a janitor.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I really rolled my eyes. I was like, this is.
I don't perform any procedures here. I just clean the floors. It's a C something.
I was like, come on. Come on, he's not 10. He knows what that is. He works in the clinic. He's never heard that phrase before.
He has no idea. He's a janitor. What do you want him to do? You want him to perform the procedure too?
Oh. Theme?
Yeah, themes. Well, like I said, I do think that, like, on the very base level, its movie is basically saying, like, hey, being pregnant is really draining and difficult, and even would be draining and difficult for a super manly man like Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, so that's like the obvious one. But I also think that this movie is trying to paint a picture about how difficult it would be for men to deal with pregnancy and just like the inability to like cope, because he handles this really poorly. And so I do feel like it is like, this is funny because it's Arnold, but I also feel like they're like poking fun at men throughout the movie.
Yes. And I mean, I did enjoy that aspect of it.
Of course.
Well, yeah, as a woman, you have to. Because it's like, I feel like there's times when I was talking to one of my friends about this, how in general, it's like, I have a very high tolerance for pain, just in general. And so I think sometimes I'm not the best at giving my husband grace, because he'll complain about something. And I'm like, really? You're mad about whatever? Blah, blah. It's like, because in my head, I'm thinking like, bro, if you dealt with 1/10 of the stuff I dealt with, like, you'd probably be curled up on the floor in a fetal position. But you have to remember, like...
But we don't.
Exactly. You don't know. And it's just different. And I think, like, if I were to, you know, really think about, like, a positive message from this movie, it's the idea of there not really being a wrong way to make a family. Because of the fact that you have so many different avenues. It's like, oh, and I mean, I think there could be a very possible message here if you're thinking about, you know, someone who may be like a trans person who wants to have a kid, or you want to have, a couple who's gay and wants to have a kid, and they love the kid, they want to have a kid. Larry couldn't physically give, they
just need a little expecting.
He couldn't. Larry couldn't, shoot his shot. They tried for 7 years. He couldn't have a kid, but his wife, or ex-wife, I should say, got pregnant by somebody else, and they ended up raising the kid together. So it's like, at the end of the day, it still got their family. It may not be in the quote-unquote traditional way, but, you can make a family in another way. Looking at it in a very favorable light, of course. But this movie was quite a bit for me. I will say that. All right, do you want some facts?
Let's hear them.
So for this one, I ended up watching a few different interviews over the years on YouTube between the different actors. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, at the time of this interview, he was married to Maria Shriver. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that while he was shooting this film, he would copy some things that his wife said or did while she was pregnant in order to kind of like get in the right headspace. He had to carry around a 25-pound stomach that he could only take off at the end of the day. And he said it was unbelievable. Like, he's like, I know for a fact a man cannot handle the pain that woman can, because he said it was wild. To your point, he said he thinks the movie is funnier because they use him and not an actual comedian, because it's like, we don't typically see him in these type of roles. Whereas he said a comedian would have played it and it might have been like really funny, but I don't know if they would have gotten the same like level of vulnerability that we would get from seeing Arnold be like, I feel like my body is disgusting, versus a regular comedian. So apparently the way this came about is back in the day, his wife Maria had a baby shower. And for the baby shower, I guess as entertainment, he did a home video where he was dressed up as a woman, pretending to be his wife, basically in a Lamaze class. And he showed it at the baby shower. Mm-hmm. Ivan Reitman was at the shower and saw this and was like, yo, this would be really funny if we did a movie where like you were like this. Ivan didn't write the script, but he said later on there was a script for Junior that came out and it was floating around. Arnold got his hands on it and he took it to Ivan and was like, yo, basically like, we should do
Remember
this.
That time?
Yeah.
That we talked about?
Remember that time when I did this? He said that when he's filming, a little bit of the roles will spill over into his home life. So for instance, when he was shooting The Terminator, he ended up being like a little bit more stern when he was home. But he said when he was shooting this film, he was a lot more attentive and loving. So Maria was a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah, she's like, when's the sequel coming out?
She said, and then I don't know if you knew this, but do you know about how Danny DeVito started like acting?
Wasn't he on Taxi?
Yes, but like, do you know like his story before that? Like how?
No.
So apparently he was like one of these kids. He grew up in Jersey in Ashbury Park. He finished high school and like didn't really know what he wanted to do. His sister owned a beauty salon. He was working there, like doing like hair care. Like she sent him to beauty school and all that. She wanted to expand the company and get into like makeup. And so she basically is like, yo, you should go to school for makeup. So he went to enroll at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts because he saw they had a makeup course. And when he went there, they were like, you can't enroll in makeup. You have to enroll as an actor. So he was like, okay. He enrolled as an actor, did a monologue, started studying night classes, and then the rest was history.
Wait, what school is this?
The American Academy of Dramatic Arts. It was in New York. But he went there because he said they had a really good cosmetology course, and he was like, oh, makeup. Not thinking like, they're thinking like Hollywood makeup. So he went to sign up, and they were like, oh, you got to enroll as an actor. And he was like, all right.
That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Time for our rewind ratings. I think you went first last week, so I can take it.
Okay.
This was also a first watch for me. I remember seeing this poster as a kid, or at least as a teen, and being like, no. Because I just know myself, and like, it's just not the kind of comedy that I would be interested in watching. So I just never really wanted to watch it.
Thine own self.
Yeah,
true.
Exactly. So I went into it knowing this is not going to be very good. Like, there were a couple laughs here and there, but there really wasn't enough for me to even give this a halfway mark. I mean, the messaging, yes, men are not as strong as women physically and whatever, but I just feel like there were too many things that didn't make a lot of sense. Dr. Redding's entire character and her clumsiness made no sense to me. Their love story made no sense to me. Larry getting back with his ex didn't really make a ton of sense to me. So by the end of this, it was like, this was a movie. I can say that I've seen it.
It was a film.
It was a movie. I have seen it.
It existed.
I'm not going to give it like, it's not Showgirls level 1, so I'm not going to give it a 1, but I'm going to give this a 2.
It's funny that you mentioned Showgirls because we've already gotten some feedback on those scores where people were like, "How could you give this movie a 1?" Like, this movie is like notoriously awful. Like, should we want to watch this again? Yeah. So I don't even know what else is there left to say about this movie. Like, this is my first time watching it as well. I assumed that it would be bad. It was I don't know, maybe even a little worse than I thought it was going to be. Just because I thought that it would be like cheesy and funny. But I feel like there were less things for me to laugh at than I expected. Where it was just kind of just like, wait, what? Now, granted, I did get a few good laughs because it's Arnold, and like Arnold in any movie is probably going to make me laugh. And I love Danny DeVito as well. So, I don't know. I guess what I'm noticing too, and we'll have to really talk about this in more detail when we get to episode 100, but I do feel like as we've progressed and watched more movies, my ratings have gotten harsher.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, do I want to watch this movie again? Absolutely not. Whereas like when we were at like episode 10, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll see it again. I'll give it a 3. And now I'm just like, no, 1. So I'm trying to think about that, but also thinking about like, am I honestly going to say I'm going to watch this movie again? No. I'm going to be kind and say 1.5.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it would be an interesting exercise when we get to our 100th episode to kind of like take a stroll down memory lane, because I imagine that if I had a chance to like re-rank I feel like a lot of the Rewind ratings would probably be a little bit different in retrospect, but
Yeah.
It's like I watch a movie and then we're recording the episode and then I'm just like, I'm going off how I'm feeling at the time. So it is what it is.
We may have to like talk about what our highest ones were, our lowest ones were, and then also like, do we still support those scores?
Yeah, or the ones that we think are like the most way off that we would like most want to change.
Yeah. We'll have to revisit that. I have been keeping track though, so we'll go over that document.
So you gave it a 2. I gave it a 1.5.
Close enough.
Let us know your rating, listener, for 1994's Junior. You can always leave a comment on our Instagram and Twitter posts. You can send us a DM. You can send us an email at rewindrewatch1990s at gmail.com. And then you can also just, join our Patreon and tell us directly in the chat. Where we have opportunity to speak directly to some of our listeners.
Yep.
Any last words or final thoughts as we close this episode on Junior?
My nipples are very sensitive.
Oh, Jesus. All right. More information than I needed. And on that note, we will sign off. Adios.
Later.